All right, in this video tutorial, we're going to take a look at creating content. There are the different content types on the site. As you can see by hovering over content create, we have address and map all the way down to web form. So the different content types depending on what we want to do. Sometimes we have mixed content types. It might be a blog post with a photo gallery, and we'll cover that. Each one of the content types have very similar fields, but they might vary one or two. Obviously, a basic page or a blog post doesn't have an audio file for like the audio content. So we're going to cover all the content types in one screencast tutorial and just cover some of the differences between each one of the fields. Every piece of content in your website is going to have a title. Always going to have a title in this, whether it's an administrative title or a title that you see on the front end. And so we're always going to fill out our title, and we'll let you go without doing it. We can upload our images, but just by hitting select. We can upload from our desktop, or we can insert something that we already have. We can add some text. The WYSIWYG is covered in a different tutorial on its own, WYSIWYG text editor. Well, it's always going to be full HTML unless it's a newsletter, then it'll be HTML newsletter. Content reference. This is a great field. We can reference other content. So if we wanted below this page to put, say, a video that we've already created, and the video needs to be created first. So we'll just put in sample. I think it's called sample video. We've created one. There we go, sample video. We can add as many items as we'd like. So let's say we want to put an audio file down there. There's a sample audio file. We get as many items as we want, and we can also rearrange them. We can provide a menu link, and this is covered in another tutorial, but we can quickly put this in the primary menu. This is covered in a video called Managing Your Menus, main menu. Revision information. We can put in a revision log information. This is for administrators only, so if we revise this several times over, we want to make notes to ourselves or to others why we revised it, we can put that in there. Comment settings, we can either make it open or closed. Comments that are open, we're accepting comments. Comments that are closed, we can close them because we're not accepting comments anymore, but it will still show the comments. And if we want to hide the comments, we can do that in our content overview administration page, which is covered in the managing content video tutorial. We can also schedule this to publish on a certain date, keeping in mind that say we publish this for tomorrow at a specific time, that it may not publish exactly at the time because it requires Drupal's cron run to be able to run. And Drupal's cron runs every 3 hours, and that's its maintenance task. And maintenance includes publishing content at a given time. So it may not happen at that exact time. So always be prepared to maybe set it to publish a couple hours before, just to ensure, or a few hours before, just to ensure that it always gets out there at a timely manner. Authoring information, we can add the author in here, so we can change this to somebody else. Say for the admin, it'll come up if we type it. Author on date, we can leave that alone, and when we hit publish, it'll automatically put the current date and time. We can also modify it here just using this format. We can put our own thing, and especially important if we're, say, listing blogs and we want to change, we want one blog on top of the other because we created them in the wrong order, we can go back and change the dates on them to make sure that, because they show the most recent first. Promotion settings, promoted to the front page. Some content types are allowed to be promoted to the front page. Not all content types are, so playing around and finding out which ones are able to go to the front page to show on the recent list or something like that. And stick at the top of the list means that anywhere, so that listing, say this is a blog post, we want it to stick at the top of all the blog posts where it's listed because it's super important. So we'll hit sticky at the top list and it will stay there until we remove the sticky from the list. And so just like that, we have it all done. We can hit save or hit publish. We can also save as draft. Publish means it's public. Saved is saved as draft. We can actually look at it on the back end, but no one sees it on the front end. Oh, we forgot to hit the value for the publish on date. I gotta get rid of that. Scheduling, let's remove that. There we go. And we hit publish. So looking at the content itself, once it's done, you'll be able to see exactly what we did once it finishes loading here. There we go. So there's our image that we uploaded. There's the body text. Look at that. We put our sample audio in there, and we put our sample video, and it's ready to go. Good to go. So other content types. So this is a blog content type. So you can see there's a title, there's an image, there's a body. And we head down here, the tags. We can add tags to this. We can add existing tags. By typing, it'll find the ones that are closest. Then we select it. We can also add new tags, which is covered in the taxonomy, managing your taxonomy video tutorial. We can add new tags, and then when it doesn't find it, we can add the new term cool. And everything else is exactly the same. Content reference, all the properties for the page. So when we're in video, we can add a teaser image to the video. Reason for adding a teaser image is that there are many places where we don't want to where we actually show teasers of the video, and it might be a thumbnail of that actual video. So we actually upload a thumbnail to replace that, because we don't want to show 8 or 10 videos on one page. It's very hard on mobile devices, resource intensive, to load all those at any given time, because they're all queued up and ready to go. But in this case, we can actually select the video, which is really nice. And depending on whether or not we're using certain services, we can actually, for YouTube, we can actually search directly within the site. You can see the search here. We can find something on Miley Cyrus for some reason. And there we go. So we can see all the Miley Cyrus videos. And we can hit submit. And right there, we've already added a video from YouTube directly. These are videos that are on YouTube, not on this site. And then now it'll be treated as a local file. Or we can hit remove. And we can select another video source. It also includes Vimeo. So you can add Vimeo in there. So you just go into your web, enter the URL, and it'll go and get the information for it. Or we can actually pull from our library. And I can see that Miley Cyrus is in our library, and there's other ones that are here too in our own files. And the rest of the things are much the same. So creating a product has 2 different special fields. There's a category, and then there's also a product. So keeping in mind that a product has a separation between the product entity and the product display. Think about it like a display rack, that you're selling shirts on that display rack, but you need to attach all the shirts to that display, the red shirts, the blue shirts, the green shirts, whatever, so that it's all in a single display. So this is the display itself, but we got to create the products on the back end. So we can hit product, we can hit add new product, and this is a form within the form. This is all about creating products, and if you check out the video tutorial on managing your products, it all ends up in this area here. We can give it a SKU, give it a product title. We can browse for an image, we can give it a price. We can say it's taxable. There's 10 of them. And we're not going to disable stock, we're going to leave it all open. Status is active, and we can hit create product. So the product will now get created on the back end, which is great. And then we can add more products to that. So let's say that this is now, that was the blue shirt, and now we want to add the red shirt. We go add new product. This shirt costs a little bit more. It's taxable, and we only have 5 of these. We gotta create product. The product gets created on the back end. I'll show you that in a second. So all we're going to do is let's just give this a title so we can save this. Oh, we're going to give it a category too. So let's add an existing term on this one. Now the categories, this is the hierarchy. So if you think about it in a clothing store, an online clothing store, we're going to have men's shirts, women's shirts, and that sort of thing. We're going to break it down like that. So there's products on the back end, and there's just a basic product. So there's a product category, there's a download category. We can break it down even further, and you can create your own ones, and that's covered in the structure taxonomy section. There's the catalog, and this is the catalog that we're using. And you can manage that and see the video called Managing Taxonomy. And then so that we're going to add that term in there, and that's all ready to go. So let's hit publish. Now we'll be able to see our shirt, although we didn't upload a picture. You can see there's our two products. So if we change it to another product, that price would change to 15. And there we go. And we hit to add to product or add to cart, and then the individuals can go to the cart and go to their checkout. Photo galleries, they have their standard fields, much like the other ones. But in this case, we have a cover image and gallery images. A cover image is the teaser image that we're going to show throughout the rest of the site when someone wants to click on it. So if we do a content reference at the end of the page or something like that, we're going to do that. Gallery images, so then we can upload our galleries, so we can select. And what I find, if I have a bunch of photos that I need to upload to a gallery, I'm not going to do them one by one in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into content files, add files, and do a bulk upload, then insert them into this content. And that's covered in another video tutorial called Managing Files. So all we're going to do is we're just going to go in and select a file. Just get one from our library. Let's insert it. Let's add another item. Let's put two items in our gallery, just for fun. Oh, I gotta do a different one there. There we go. And you give a cover image. Let's use this one. Let's give it a title. Let's just save that. Don't worry about the other fields as they're optional. Our gallery is now saved, and we should be able to view the gallery and swipe through it. It has to generate the thumbnails that we've just uploaded, so give it a second. This is the first time that it generates it, so it does take a little bit longer. And we can see that we can go through our video or our thumbnails quite nicely. Okay, so that's gallery. Now creating events, pretty much the standard same ones, except for we have a product reference, which allows us to accept registrations for an event. So we add products, much like in the product video what we just did for the products before with the t-shirts. Same sort of thing, but we also have categories here, which is much in the same way of adding the product categories, but in this sense, we're using a category. As we can see, let's just open up our calendar. So you can see how events get laid out. All right, we deleted in the previous video, so let's just, there. There it is. Okay, so we have our calendar, and you can see it's color-coded down here, and it gives us the categories. And so we can play with our own categories as we go along. So we can add a new term, so let's add a new term. Let's say this one is, we're doing yoga classes, so it's a yoga category. We can give it a description if we want, and we're going to give it a color. So in this case, we're going to choose pink. We can create the term. And there we go. And so this event, we give it a date and a time. We can give it an end time, so we can show an end date. This is where it gets quite confusing. So let's say this event happens on one day only, so that's no problem. So let's go November 7th, and it ends at 05:15, and it's only one time. So it's all on the same date, and it ends at the same time, or a couple hours later. And let's hit publish. Oh, I forgot to give it a title. So we'll give it a title once that saves, or tries to save anyway. All right. Beginners yoga. Let's hit publish. Okay. So now we see if we go back to our calendar, we'll be able to see that beginners yoga show up with a pink background. There's our beginners yoga. and flip over to our calendar, and let's refresh that calendar, and we should be able to see it right here. There it is, beginner's yoga. But what happens if this yoga class happens every week on Thursday? So we can go back to our beginner's yoga class. We can edit it. We can set it to repeat. Hit repeat, and we can say it repeats every week, and it repeats every week on Thursday, and it'll end after 10 sessions. Or we can switch it to date, and we can turn it to a date. In this case, we're just do 10 sessions. We can also say, well, it also doesn't include next week. So let's just exclude next week, the 14th. And we can include specific days. Or like, oh no, this one also has, because the 14th's not doing it, we're going to also do it on that day it's booked. So we're going to do it on the 13th, on the Wednesday. We can do that. We hit save. Let's head back to our calendar. Once that finishes loading, we'll refresh this, and we should be able to see everything through here, except for the 14th should be made on the 13th. And there it is there. So there it is on the 13th, and it continues on, and we go into next month. We can see it carries on for our 10 sessions, which is great. And so that covers events. And we can also tie in, our beginner's yoga can also tie into products. We can have registrations, and then you also have your orders tab. And so you can see who's registered, and you have exports with that and see who's purchased those. And a donation, much in the same way of the other ones, the products, you're going to add a donation and a goal if you want. And so in this case, let's just do, this is a sample donation. Oops. And down here, we're going to add a product. And this can be, let's say we're raising money to buy a building. So buy building is the SKU, because everything has a unique SKU. The product title is buy building. Price, it's always going to be $0 for donations. We can also, this campaign may not start for a later date. And so then we can create our product. It's active, so we can create our product. Now if we want, we can also make a goal and show a thermometer on our goal towards that. So let's say we want to raise $300,000. And now we can hit publish. And once that's saved, we'll be able to see the donation thermometer. And we've raised $0, and it's 0% of our goal. We're raising $300,000, and there's a donation amount. Someone can now give us, $500 and add it to their cart and go to checkout and pay with their credit card. But we can also make it so that we don't have a donation thermometer. We just have a general donation, and we can just delete the goal that we set for ourselves at 300,000, and then it won't show. It'll just be the donation form. And so that covers that. All these content types are kind of interrelated, making sure you use the correct ones at each time, and filling out all the fields as you go along. Anyways, good luck on it. Thank you very much for watching.